This is Don't Panic, episode number 210, recorded July 16th, 2018. Bot followers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and the most important part, you, of course. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by two guys who are always saddled up to the bar, Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller. Gentlemen, good day.
I'm saddling up.
Do people still saddle up to bars? I never go to bars, so I'm not the guy. Do people still saddle up to bars?
Yeah.
Do you ever saddle up to them, or do you sidle up to them?
Oh, shit.
You can do either. I feel like you sidle up to a bar when you're just kind of leaning on it and you're trying to get a drink order in. But you saddle up to a bar when the stool's just a little too high and you kind of got to, you know?
I see. I feel like I do more sidling than saddling. Is that my computer?
Yeah, there's an echo coming from somewhere. Mystery machine.
Oops.
No biggie.
Indeed. I was trying to share our post.
So, we were talking before we started broadcasting about ideas for bars. Maybe this is the time to crowdsource it with our plentiful followers and viewers joining live.
Colby and I are going to open a bar eventually. It's bound to happen.
Fact.
At some point.
Now,
it could be tomorrow. It could be in 10 years. It's going to happen at some point.
Now, where are you going to launch it is the question, because I'm going to put in an early recommendation for Chattanooga.
Well, Colby and I have talked about this, and Chattanooga is actually an ideal location.
Because it's so funny to say.
So,
Our bar could be Chattanooga themed.
In Chattanooga? That seems like a very bad idea.
You know how like all the Applebee's have their like local, like oddly specific, but still somehow generic paraphernalia on the walls? We can do that.
You're going to make a generic bar.
I like it.
I would actually...
Chattanooga, so here's the location criteria. Is I feel like what we don't want to do is open it in like a New York, Boston, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, Seattle kind of deal, because there's lots of cocktail bars in those places. We want to go to a place where we might not be the only cocktail bar, but we'll be one of the few. So there's still there's a lot of room in the market.
Also, the bar is low in case we're not very good at it.
No pun intended.
So you're looking like for...
Come on!
I didn't even...
That's the easiest one.
Is that... Wait, is the bar in that saying a bar, like an alcohol bar?
I always assumed it was a Limbo reference. Don't want to set that bar too low.
Weird. You should talk about this on Up for Debate.
Yes.
Limbo.
Have you had an idioms episode?
We did a whole hour on idioms. It's one of my favorite episodes we've done. People should go listen to it at upfordebate.tv. It was very fun. Well, that's great.
There are lost tapes?
Yeah, I probably should have told you guys about that. I don't know why we're talking about this, but I should have told you guys. So remember when Coffee and Beer Radio was a thing? A long time ago, back when I was doing those little daily segments?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Matt and I didn't do a show the last 2 weeks, so I edited a bunch. During Coffee and Beer Radio, I had a bunch of outtakes of us, like pre- and post-show recordings, that I broadcast on that, so I recut them into an episode Up for Debate. So you guys were on Up for Debate this week. I didn't tell you.
Snap.
I mean, the stuff had already been published, but I republished it, so you don't say anything to me.
I still get royalties from this, right?
Yes, but they're so immensely small. It cost me more to send the check than what the check is worth. Just like our Amazon referrals.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It in a place that doesn't... It either has 0 cocktail bars or like 1 or 2, maybe 3.
Sure.
3, I think you're starting to push it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's location-wise. Colby and I both agree that we want it to be a bar that serves good drinks.
That's are you sure about that? You feel really confident about that? That's a controversial decision.
Yeah, no, that's a deal breaker.
Okay.
As they say.
All right. But what about the food? Just so food or no food?
That is a good question. Here's the thing with food. I think that it is better to have no food than shitty food, because then like you go up to the bar and you're like, oh man, they have a burger. Thank goodness, because I'm starving. You order it and it's terrible. That's a bad customer experience. That's what we call a bad customer experience, Sean.
But I think you should do like 2 or 3 really good food items. Like you don't have to have a whole menu. It doesn't have to be a restaurant, but just be like, oh, they're known for their great drinks and their amazing quesadillas.
Yeah, but then we're gonna have to have a kitchen and like a cook staff, and I'm not very good at that. So it feels outside of our strong suits. We're not playing to our strengths there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Maybe the thing to do is like, there's a bar here that is like adjacent. It's like affiliated with the restaurant next door. So like the restaurant cooks the food.
And do they have a sign, Colby, that tells you not to cross through the 2 restaurants?
No, it's a different bar. There might be a sign there too, but I've never needed to cross through or been told to cross through.
So I'm all about that strategy. That sounds good.
That's a good idea.
So Chattanooga, I think, not actually a ridiculous suggestion.
Maybe like a Colorado Springs, or maybe a Milwaukee.
I haven't been to Colorado Springs.
Or like a St. Petersburg.
One of the smaller Oregon cities, like not Portland, I think.
Like a Eugene.
Good. Like a Eugene or a Bend, Oregon.
Oh God, yeah, Bend.
One of the coastal cities.
Sure.
I think I feel like there's a certain appeal in doing it in a sort of like seasonal place, because like if you so desired, you could only be open for some part of the year.
Ooh.
And then like do other stuff the rest of the year.
Like a ski resort sort of place.
Yeah, like a Burlington.
Right.
Not just for coat factories. No, that's
Did you know that it's not called Burlington Coat Factory anymore?
No, what is it?
Just Burlington.
It's just Burlington.
Do they not manufacture coats in a factory anymore?
I don't know that they ever did they?
What? When did this happen?
The coats weren't made in the back. It used to be like a Dunkin' Donuts. Like they used to crank out the donuts twice a day or whatever, which I learned on Up for Debate. But the nowadays, they aren't
more
producing
fresh-made coats. No.
Yeah.
What a shame, man. What is this country coming to? So what would be the signature drink at your bar? What would you guys be known for? Because a signature bar is known. I mean, yeah, all the drinks will be good, but what are you known for? What do people come there to get?
I think if you're really doing it right, your signature drink has to have something to do with the name of your bar.
Okay.
Because that's free advertisement.
Tied into the bigger. You guys should do like they do in New Orleans and have those big plastic light up glasses with the huge straws. Like people love that.
That's
stuff.
true.
So here's a good example.
Grenades.
I read a New York Times article about a cocktail bar. The drinks aren't even that good. It's somewhere in the Midwest, and they have a giant tank filled with people in mermaid suits.
Yes.
And that's a hook. You need the hook.
I mean, look at Jimmy Buffett. He's opened all these Margaritavilles. He's doing great. Like people love the theme. It's about the theme. It's about. Would you guys ever consider like an immersive theater bar?
Ooh.
Maybe.
I actually would.
Murder mystery bar?
Yes.
I would be totally down.
But do it where like don't do like costumes or like have everybody dress normally. It's just their plants throughout the bar so people don't realize it's interactive until it's too late.
Yeah, but the Yelp reviews are going to give that away.
Sure. But that's part of the fun where you're like, wait, are you an actor? No, maybe you're an actor. You don't know.
Yes.
So maybe the thing to do is to take this a step further and you just take over certain bars, like other people's bars, just for a night. So
like an improv
never
everywhere
kind of. Yes. Yeah.
That's another really good idea. A traveling bar.
And then you're dodging the Yelp problem.
Oh well,
what are they going to do? Review the place?
We don't need to worry about equipment.
But I do kind of like. Now Dan's gotten me thinking about a traveling bar where you don't have to go to other bars. Like you could go to like a Walmart and have a bar, or you could go to like the zoo and have a bar.
Well, it's a traveling bar. Liquor license.
No, but what are they going to do? You're traveling, then you just leave. It's great. It's like a pop-up bar.
Wanted in 50 states. Colby Rabideau and Dan Miller.
And they're traveling. They're amazing, fantastical traveling bar.
When I lived in San Francisco, in one of the parks there was this guy who, like, every weekend he was there, and he carried around a cooler behind him in, like, a cleaver, like a meat cleaver, and this guy had, like, dirty dreadlocks, like, down to his ankles, and he in his cooler he had a bottle of Sailor Jerry's rum and a bunch of coconuts, and he would, like, hack off the top of the coconut, pour a bunch of rum in there, and, like, give you a straw and that for like $10 or something. He was there every weekend. As far as I could tell, that was his job.
I could see you two doing that for sure.
Yeah, that's a traveling bar. That's like some minimalism right there.
I think in a place like a nice vacation destination, like a summer vacation destination, could be interesting too. I feel like those are underserved by good bars.
True.
Definitely.
And you can charge a bunch of money.
Like a Myrtle Beach or like a...
Right.
I first had the idea for a seasonal destination bar in Newport, Rhode Island.
Aha.
Because there are a couple like dockside like open air bars that are like obviously they're only open for 3 months out of the year.
Right.
And it seems cool.
What about a high-end classy booze cruise? Like, just do it on a boat, but it's like super chill and refined.
But you need to come up with another name like Booze Cruise that's just as enticing.
Maybe like a
cocktail cruise.
It's gotta have.
Do you have to ditch the cruise?
Yeah, I think you gotta ditch the cruise.
There's got to be a fancy word for sailing, but
yachting. It's yachting, really.
Is it?
Right.
Like the cocktail yacht.
Yeah. Yachting feels so like I feel like cruise is good because it seems like short term, like low commitment. That's what you want is low commitment.
Like Colby and Dan Sea Jaunt?
Oh my God! What if? Okay, we got this right. It's like you do the speakeasy thing, but your speakeasy is on a boat, and there is some like somehow like. There's some trick to figuring out where and when you can get on the boat to go on the speakeasy.
And then does the boat leave?
Yes, the boat leaves and goes other places.
So basically, you created like a water taxi, but with drinks on it, and you don't tell anyone its schedule or location.
Exactly.
I love it. How can I invest?
And then to like add to the mystique, like if you get to a place and there are too many people waiting at the place, it just doesn't stop and it goes someplace.
Yeah, that's good. And then you can charge them a fare when they get on in exchange for transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is smart.
The cocktail canoe.
The cocktail. Okay, now I'm imagining Colby just with a paddle in a canoe, and like
that's that two at a time. Yeah. Bar we went to. I like it.
God, how are we not millionaires yet? I don't understand it.
I feel like it's because we haven't tried to build any of our crazy ideas.
I saw an article today that some startup got $10 million to be the LinkedIn of students. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Like, it's such a dumb idea.
Isn't that what Facebook is?
That's what LinkedIn is. I thought LinkedIn was the LinkedIn of students. Like, I'm so confused.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. All right. Any other bar ideas we want to suggest? Well, keep this comedy train rolling, or...
I think I'm out for now. I'm going to have to think about the name for our cocktail cruise.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to think about what was my other bit of homework?
Other smaller cities in Oregon?
No, I've got a pretty extensive list of those. The theme. Like that's what it was. What is our clientele? What movies do they watch?
Yeah, you're the demographics of your target audience, and use that to craft a theme around something they would find interesting. Like you said, if you're going for a more high-end, maybe it's a cigar-themed bar, or maybe it's a...
Oh, thanks.
Maybe it's a fancy... I'm not a rich guy, so I don't know what rich guys...
What are new fancy things that people have?
Avocado toast? I don't... Again, Dan, you're talking to me, okay? That I am so the opposite of your target audience.
True.
My target restaurant is Chili's, so not really your guy.
We took you to we got you out of to a non-chain restaurant in New York.
Oh, you two
even enjoyed yourself.
Dan, I was living in Houston, and you two had to come and take me to nice restaurants and bars there. Okay, so I am. You guys are the pros, believe me.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I'll get back to you with what our target demographic.
Yeah, this will have to be like a continuing theme across the weeks as we slowly build this concept.
All right, it's like the McElroy brothers will be in Trolls 2.
Yes.
Right.
This is the documentary about the smash hit,
Yep.
Multi-location, multi-international bar that Colby and I opened, and the story of how it came to be.
Yeah, the title of it is Opening Night, and the idea is that we launch all of the episodes of the podcast on the opening night of the bar.
Right.
And we're telling the
But
story.
if you're listening to Don't Panic, you get it in real time.
Yep.
It's like you don't even have to subscribe on Patreon because A, we don't have one,
No.
and
You
B,
can still give us money, though.
right. Can they actually?
Yes, please.
Just
Put
send
$5 in an
cash
envelope
in
and
the
mail
mail.
it to Coffee and Beer, care of... No, I do like the idea, though. Now you got me thinking, Dan. I wonder if... Because a lot of celebrities and even podcasters now do cruises where you can go on a cruise with them and you book a boat. We need to do the Coffee and Beer cruise, which is essentially I will rent a pontoon boat and we can go out on the lake. If anyone is interested, email us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com.
Which lake? Which lake?
A lake. One of the... A Great Lake, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
or a
hear
good
those
one.
are big.
So Colby and I could try out the booze cruise idea right there.
Exactly. It'll be our test run.
Right.
Absolutely.
Would you and Matt do an episode of Up for Debate right on the boat?
Oh,
Live
hell
studio
yeah.
audience?
Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. Absolutely, I would.
Okay, I'm down.
All right. Okay, everyone, get ready. Buy your tickets for the Coffee and Beer Cruise Canoe Cocktail Bar
Cruise
Event.
canoe.
.com. Alrighty. Well, now that we've powered through that, we're going to talk about some tech news. We kind of blew off the tech news last week, so I kind of feel like we owe it to the people who tune in for our hot takes on what's happening in the world of tech. And we have, look at this. Before we get to that, we have an idea from a first-time commenter.
Oh, right.
Boing, 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 boing. You know what? I hate watching those Twitch streams where they have all that shit flashing everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so we don't do that here, but I'll do it with my voice. My brother Jason commented, it's an escape room, but it's a boat in the middle of the ocean. And winning the room gives you the keys to the boat, but you got to do it while you're drinking, of course. That's the best idea we've had all night.
So does that mean if you lose the room, you don't get the keys to the boat and you have to remain?
Yep, you're stranded out at
You
sea.
never return.
I like that idea.
I like it. Yeah, I think we need to work escape rooms. You know what? You know what my target audience likes, Sean? Escape rooms.
Is there an escape room bar?
I don't know. I haven't heard of one. So I'm going to say no.
That seems like something that would be a big hit.
Yeah.
I feel like escape rooms seem like they have a like you only ever go there one time problem.
Yep. But how much more often would you go if
If
there
you
were
could
drinks
drink.
and the drinks were good?
Yeah,
But I
fair
think
enough.
I think you would kind of have to split the difference between the ideas, though, because I don't think you would do like a full escape room, but I do like the idea of like you have to solve puzzles to get your drinks, or like the drinks are puzzles in and of themselves. I don't think you
Yeah.
should do like a full
Right.
escape room while drinking.
You have to pay for each drink regardless. But if you don't solve the puzzle, you don't get your drink.
Oh my god, you'd make so much money. This is great.
Yeah, it would be like one of those Chinese lockbox things, but a cup.
Yes.
And you have to somehow get the top off.
Yep, and the ice inside is melting, so you got to really hurry. My drink's going to get watered down.
The cup itself is ice.
And it melts, and then your drink spills everywhere.
Right, so you have to find like a heat source and melt just the top.
This is not our worst idea. Add that to your list. And that's a franchisable concept right there.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, is it.
And then we're just printing money at that point.
Yeah, man. What are we here? Why are we here? Let's stop the show. Let's go do that. That's a much better idea. Then, sadly, our pivot to this week's tech news. And we have a number of stories here in the rundown, some of which are probably worth talking about. Guys, anything in here
Possible.
that's got really not a lot of big-timey announcement stuff, but there's, a few things here and there. Or unless there's something not in the rundown you want to talk about anyway. Sky's the limit.
Okay, I think I'm interested in talking about the WeWork story.
Okay. I picked this because I'm like, this seems up Dan's alley. I think Dan will have something to say about this.
Interesting.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. WeWork, we've mentioned that maybe once or twice here on the show. The co-working startup, it's worth about $20 billion. It's where your company can rent like a room, and it's the co-working spaces. Dan, you're very familiar with these. I guess we all are. We've all been to them at one point or another. They have WeWork has nearly 6,000 staff of its own, never mind the 200,000 members across their global locations. They announced this week they will no longer allow employees to expense meat. Now, what does that mean? Employees, they will no longer serve meat at company events, nor will they allow employees to expense meat as part of any meals that they try to expense as employees of the company. The co-founder of WeWork revealed the policy writing, quote, "New research indicates that avoiding meat is one of the biggest things an individual can do to reduce their personal environmental impact, even more than switching to a hybrid car." The policy specifically removes red meat, poultry, and pork from company menus and expenses policy, though they emphasize the company is not prohibiting WeWork staff or members from bringing in meat-based meals they've paid for themselves. Members are also still free to host their own events at WeWork locations and serve meat they've paid for themselves. It's only food purchased by WeWork. Also, fish is not covered in the meat-free initiative.
And why is that? Did it say?
As I understand it, no, it doesn't specifically say. As I understand it, it's that the meats that they are talking about banning, that they did ban, are definitely way worse than fish in terms of their environmental impact. Now, does that mean fish have no environmental impact? Would it be healthier to go vegetarian or something like that? Probably.
Now, the environmental impact is the cost of like raising these animals just to kill them.
Yeah.
What they are speaking about.
Well, also, don't like cows in particular, don't they generate a bunch of methane, which is like a greenhouse gas,
among
and
other things,
is worse than carbon dioxide too?
Yeah, it's even I even know that it's even sometimes the land that they occupy, it just takes up so much land, physical land for them to occupy land that could be used for other things, more environmentally friendly things.
Okay. I buy the first argument. I don't buy the land argument.
Well, it says here in their memo, WeWork can save an estimated 16.7 billion gallons of water, 445 million pounds of CO2 emissions, and over 15 million animals by 2023 by eliminating meat at our events. In just 3 days, they estimate they can save more than 10,000 animals.
Yeah, all right. And fish don't produce these byproducts.
According to WeWork, I suppose not.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you be happy if your company instituted this policy?
I would be happy if my company gave me any free food at all. So
hang on
and
now.
That will always be my position.
Hang on now, Dan, because I don't want to call you out here, but I happen to know that there may have been some ice cream related experiments happening in your office. So I don't mean to put you on blast,
And how much was that expense report again?
What, $4.50?
Yeah.
And it was meat free, so you're in compliance.
That's true.
It was meat free, although there still had to be cows somewhere for that.
That is true. That is true. It is meat adjacent.
The meat byproduct.
Yes.
But yeah, it turns out for everyone at home, if you making ice cream with liquid nitrogen is a lot of fun.
That's cool. Do you have any liquid nitrogen left over? Did you do any cocktail
We have a
stuff?
whole 10-liter contraption device filled with liquid nitrogen in our office right now.
Oh boy!
I gotta start freezing shit.
In your WeWork? Is that against the WeWork terms of service?
So that they were not in a WeWork, but the owner of the VC firm / co-working space that we rent from / invest in us did stop by and saw what we were doing. It's like, wow, that's really cool. Who approved this? He didn't stop us. He liked the ice cream too.
Yeah.
I did look up because this is positioned right next to my chair, this contraption. I was like, what's the worst that can happen with like a giant jug of liquid nitrogen? And it'll never get hot enough in this space for that to become an issue, so we're fine.
That's good.
Do you have pets in your space?
Not supposed to, but they're there.
Because I wouldn't want you to sort of like trip or drop it and all of a sudden Fido is a little icier, you know?
Right. You really don't want to drink liquid nitrogen. That's the real thing. That's the real thing. Because the gas expands in your stomach and you could actually explode.
Well, it is the original cold brew, so...
What?
That sounded like a funny joke in my head. Don't put those side by side on the counter.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things that someone said online was like, oh, if you want to keep like a smaller amount of liquid nitrogen around just for a little bit, get one of those like airport or crappy restaurant coffee jug things, like the ones that the handle pops up and you like pump it, and you can keep liquid nitrogen in there and it'll stay for a long time. So we do have one of those, and we have yet to fill it with liquid nitrogen, but that, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's only a matter of time.
Thankfully, the person would probably notice immediately that their cup didn't get warm. In fact, it got immediately colder, so cold that they would probably drop it on the ground. So I don't think it's a big problem.
Although that does sound like a really cool application where you'd be like, well, we have hot coffee and iced coffee, and then the hot coffee is just you put it over and you pump in the liquid nitrogen, it becomes cold coffee.
But you don't want to drink it. I don't think it would work. I think it would be really bad. I don't know. That's a good question. Would it eventually evaporate off?
You'll have to report back.
I have a new experiment. I do have some cold brew concentrate in my refrigerator right now.
Yeah, and there's like a whole chapter about this in Liquid Intelligence.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm gonna write that down. I need to.
Yeah. It's pretty in depth about the things you shouldn't do.
Okay.
Yeah, with liquid nitrogen, it seems like you start with the things you shouldn't do before getting to the things you should do.
What is fun to do? Frozen cereal. Eating frozen cereal, and then your breath like immediately becomes like vapor. That's fun. You can take a superconductor, and if you freeze it in liquid nitrogen, then you put a magnet on top of it. The magnet floats in the air. That's pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dan Miller, the science guy.
Dan. All right. An themed cocktail bar.
Ooh.
That has both our original idea where we're stealing existing IP.
Yes.
And it's very nostalgic for kids from the 90s who now have lots of disposable income. This is great.
Do they though?
I'm trying to think, like, do I have disposable income? No. Damn.
I do think it's a good idea, though.
God, we're just full of good ideas tonight. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Any other...
Yeah, we could draw inspiration for our cocktails from, like, Bill Nye episodes.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
All right. Anyways.
Although I
Anything else about WeWork?
Yeah, I was gonna say anything. Any other thoughts on WeWork? I don't know. I guess it's kind of interesting.
I wouldn't. I didn't get the sense that WeWork was like a big environmental company, so I was very surprised when I saw this story.
Didn't we talk on the show about the co-founders wanting to start like some super creepy school for like WeSchool for the kids?
Right.
Like they strike me as like Elon Musk-esque, like we're rich and so now we're gonna be creepy about it people.
Yeah, but they're New York rich, which is typically different than Silicon Valley. But the daycare story struck me as like a Silicon Valley rich thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that was WeWork. Let's see. What else we got here, gentlemen? You know what I need to do while you're thinking about what we'll talk about next? I need to get like one of those bells, like one of those like front desk bells for every time we change a story. Ding! So people know that we're moving
Sean,
on.
I want a bell so
Ding.
bad.
Oh, all three of us should get bells. That would be so miserable to listen to. Ding, da, ding, 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 da, ding, ding, ding.
Almost every podcast I listen to has a bell on it at this point.
Is that why no one listens to us?
If they all have bells, maybe we should get some other device like
Ooh.
gongs, tiny gongs.
The That Was Easy button.
God, we love stealing
that was
copyright.
easy. That is our logo.
That's
Shh, Colby. That's copyright.
Wait,
just
it
like
is?
The lie.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly.
No, I'm the one who literally photoshopped it.
Back it off.
No, it's an easy button. I literally made.
Blatantly steal and Photoshop out the easy from an easy button.
Yeah.
Whoops. Whoops. Thank goodness the Staples Corporation isn't very litigious.
Good word.
Litigious.
Litigious. That's your $5 word of the day. Let's see what else, guys, in here is worth talking about. Anything?
Twitter. They fixed Twitter.
Yeah, last week we spent a whole hour talking about how Twitter is terrible, more or less. I'm paraphrasing. And Twitter
although it's the most innovative thing that we've done in the last 60 years. So
I thought you were going to say the most innovative thing we've done in the last 5 years of the show, which also might be true. And so Twitter listened to us and decided they were going to do something about it. They have begun removing tens of millions of suspicious accounts from users' followers. Earlier this week, a major new effort to restore trust on the platform. It started on last Thursday. Many users, including those who have bought fake followers and any others who are followed by suspicious accounts, will see their follower numbers fall. The company said it would strip tens of millions of questionable accounts from users' follower. The move would reduce the total combined follower count on Twitter by about 6%, a substantial drop. So it's not that, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's not that they're necessarily banning these suspicious accounts. It's just that they no longer count towards your follower total. And we saw, as a result of this move, many accounts saw their fall by millions of followers in some cases. But I did see a nice summary article about a lot of web influencer people who saw their totals drop from like 500,000 to like 10,000, or I'm exaggerating, but some crazy clearly we know where those followers came from.
We're influencing that many people after all.
Exactly. Well, and I bragged a little bit at work because my company's Twitter account didn't change at all. I said, we're legit. We're the real deal. I didn't pay for that.
Yeah,
those morons followed us for free.
Changed at all either. No, not really.
And these were only, I think, the most egregious ones that they did. Like I said, a 6% or so. Yeah, so I don't know, guys. Do you think simply just changing the follower counts is a good way to address Twitter's problems, or should they be more concerned about actively removing and policing accounts?
Hopefully this means that they're getting at that they're preparing to do more things like this, where it's not just removing their follower accounts, but now they have like heuristics where they can say, automatically ban people, or like they're not showing follower accounts, but before this they were also not showing replies. They have like the hidden reply thing now. So I think they're doing some things. I think they really still suffer from the, free speech fallacy stuff that Reddit is also struggling with. Maybe they'll get over it. Maybe they're just like inching their way bit by bit. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a step one of their 10-step plan or something to get rid of fake stuff. Like, it is, I guess if you think about it, it's like a relatively low impact way to see like what would happen. Like you're exposing people to or maybe it's starting to like we're starting to get acclimated to the fact that maybe like many of these accounts are going to go away, but in a low stakes way where it's not like you didn't just straight up delete something, and if it's like incorrect in certain cases, like you didn't delete anyone's account who is not actually a bot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most clever part of this whole operation is that they told everybody they were going to do it before they did it. Because I think if they had just done this, either A, no one would have cared, or B, everyone would have been, oh my god, my followers suddenly dropped, what's going on? And by announcing up front that they were doing it, it was kind of like, A, okay, we know why you're doing it, but also B, we were able to watch everybody's accounts and say, haha, look at how much yours fell. Oh, isn't that suspicious? Oh, you lost half your followers. What does that say? And I think that there is some interesting dynamics to operating in that manner where you're very upfront about what's going on, and I appreciate it. I do think it's interesting that they clearly know what accounts are suspicious, and why they wouldn't do more to remove them from the... I guess I just don't know why some accounts are suspicious, and so what makes an account suspicious? Is it what they say, how they say it, where they're coming from? And if it is certain things, then maybe they should be doing more than just removing the follower. I don't know. It's a good first step. I'm glad they did it, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions in terms of how they handle the platform.
Indeed.
I will also say, on a bit of an unrelated note, the other day I was trying to do something in Tweetbot and I couldn't get it to work, so I had to download the Twitter official app. It's so unbelievably unusable. It's such... The feed...
What?
The feed in the Twitter app has so much nonsense going on. Everything is... It's all out of order. There's all this extra like, oh, Dan hearted this, and here's an ad, and here's a reply someone did to someone else, and oh, in case you missed it, here's something that happened 3 days ago, and I'm like, what? It blew my mind's concept of time and space to use the Twitter app. It was upsetting. Sorry.
So, I disagree, and the alternative is like the Tweetbot approach. I used Tweetbot for a long time, but I follow too many people to, catch up on Twitter whenever I open it, or maybe I just don't use Twitter enough. And so I need something to, I like the thing where it says, hey, here's what you missed, and here's the tweets that we know that you're interested in based on who you interact with and what things you click on. Like, these are the things that you actually want to see, and if you're bored, you can keep scrolling. I don't care about the linear timeline. The thing, and I've had good success with, oh, your friend liked this, and I've found when that shows up enough, I'm likely to follow that person. Like, oh, a bunch of my friends like stuff from this account, so I should probably just follow it because I have also liked it. Sometimes I don't, and it's just you can't win them all.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with that. I think my issue comes in. I've had this issue with Instagram as it's gotten more algorithm-y and more, other things you might like and more adsy, and I just don't find it as enjoyable of an experience. I agree that it is hard to read everything on Twitter, but at the same time, at least in a raw feed situation, I get to choose what I see. So if I don't read it for a day, then I just don't see what happens for a day. The problem is I would rather choose what I see and not see. If someone's over tweeting, I'll just mute them for a week, versus sort of the algorithmic approach where I just don't. I'm glad that some people like what Twitter's doing. It just bothers me that Twitter is going to keep squeezing apps like Tweetbot that will eventually cut them off from the API, which would be very disappointing.
Yeah, I do like that there's choices.
Because if Facebook offered me the option to do a less algorithmic, more sort of hands-on customized feed, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
But for obvious ad-related reasons, they don't.
No.
So be it.
Have you guys gotten the thing on Instagram where you scroll through and the little green thing pops up? It's like, you're caught up. I really like that.
I love it, but it does say something that they had to add that. Where it's like people couldn't tell they had already read everything, so you had to let them know. Really?
It's interesting that they felt that they had to do that. Isn't it in their best interest to let them keep going?
Yes.
To keep showing them there's infinite ads, hypothetically.
Yes. It feels like a weirdly light side UX pattern. Like. I wouldn't necessarily expect it from them.
Light side UX patterns.
Well, there's the like dark UX patterns.
Right.
Just like everything else Facebook does.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see. Let's check the clock. We got time for one more story. What in here is it? We got Roku speakers. We've got Surface Go. We've got Netflix stock issues and subscriber issues. We've got the anniversary of the App Store. We got all kinds of stuff. What do you want to?
You have any preferences, Colby?
I don't have strong preferences, but I could pick one if need be.
Okay, pick one.
We need B.
I just think the Surface Go looks cool.
All
Okay,
right, that sounds like an opinion we can get behind.
I
Last
hate
week,
to say it.
no, because I'm
yeah.
going to back you up. Last week, Microsoft announced the Surface Go tablet, a smaller, less powerful take on the popular Surface Pro. It has a 10-inch screen, integrated kickstand, Windows 10, and a similar design to the Surface Pro, and it starts at $399. What do you get for that? It's got a display. It's got a kickstand, a front-facing camera, the Surface connector port for charging and connected to a desktop dock, USB-C, blah, blah, blah. What else here? Touchscreen, yes. Weighs 1.15 pounds, a little heavier than an iPad, but lighter than the Surface Pro. It's got the optional keyboard cover and works with the Surface Pen. It comes in two varieties, $399 and $549. On the lower one, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gig memory. And on the better one, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabytes of memory. Of course, you can add all the various accessories, and it comes in a number of colors. It runs an Intel processor and Windows 10. It will hit shelves next month. And I'll put up on screen here for the folks watching the video version.
What gets you excited about this, Colby?
I don't know. It just looks cool. I like that the pen sticks to it. That's a gripe I have with the iPad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never used one of those like keyboard case things, so maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I just feel like weirdly having like an iPad-like thing that is more like an actual computer has been like more and more appealing to me, where it's like most of the time like the iPad is way more fun to use, but then like, you know, you still have stuff that doesn't work on mobile Safari. Like you can't not have a desktop computer if you want to use.
If you want to use what?
It's just like any website that you have to pay for something on, like 50-50 shot, like you can't do it on mobile Safari correctly.
Ooh. Like what's an example? Like paying
just
for
like tickets for things like museum websites or like anything like that. Like not the Amazons of the world, not the big companies of the world, but like websites where they have like it's pretty crappy, like, or booking a haircut online. I can never book my haircuts on the iPad because whatever website all the hair places use just doesn't work. Stuff like that is pretty
interesting.
Yeah.
I should try booking more things. I feel like I do a lot of this on my phone and it works. Do you find a distinction between the phone and because sometimes the website's different for the phone versus the tablet? Do you find a distinction there?
I don't know if I've ever tried it on my phone for that particular one. It's weird because there's this one website that a bunch of the haircut places in this area seem to use, and it's like the same problem for all of them, which is annoying. But that's a thing that I found. I don't know.
But are there any other things beyond just websites that don't work in the mobile versions of the browsers? Other workflows that you do that you can't do on an iPad, but that you would want to do in that form factor?
I don't know. I think I just want the pen touch thing on an actual computer. I think that's what I want. It's I
still haven't used one. But I've been. The next iPad that comes out, I'll finally get a new iPad, and then I'll be able to experience the magic of the pen. It's not Magic Pen, is it? Apple Pencils. Sorry. How did they not call it the Magic Pen?
Someone has to have that trademarked.
Yeah.
Dan, we got to talk a school into buying you one of those crayons, one of those big crayons.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
No, the Surface Go, Colby, I agree with you. I think that for me, the issue with an iPad-like device is file management. It's just file management. I need a real operating system, and I know that it's gotten better over time. But for example, as I'm in the process of buying a house, I'm constantly sending and having to sign paperwork back and forth and emailing attachments all the time and saving stuff and syncing stuff. And I try and do it on my phone, which admittedly is different than an iPad. That's fair, but it just doesn't. And also, I'm a long-term Windows. I've used Windows forever, so I'm a little biased in that respect. But I do like the idea of this as an option for Windows. There really aren't Windows devices at this size. If you wanted a Windows device at this size, it simply does not exist. So I'm glad that at least it's an option. Am I going to run out and buy one? I don't know. I think the $399 is the ticket price there. Your sort of entry level, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigs memory. That ain't going to cut it. And I think by the time you upgrade to the better one, you add the type cover and the pen, and the pen's $100, on top of it. So yeah. So I think by the time you add up all the price, you're already at the cost of a quote unquote real laptop. So I love the idea of the thing, and I do think it looks pretty nice, actually. I do like the Surface devices in general. I think Microsoft does a good job, but I just don't know who's going to buy this,
Yeah. I don't know. I do not.
But I definitely think it's cool. I definitely think if it was, well-powered at $399 with accessories, I would legitimately consider getting one. But by the time you add in all of the bundle pieces, you're easily going to hit $800. Which for a 10-inch device is very expensive. So, anyhow, there you go. Coming to a Microsoft store near you. Alrighty, well that does it for the news portion of the program, because we're going to move on to our picks, which is the part of the show where we each bring something cool we want to chat about and share with the world. Sometimes they're good picks, other times they're not as good, but we're going to share them with you anyway. I will go first because I am at the top of the list here, and mine's a cop-out. Now, you guys remember about 2 months ago, I shared one of my 2 famous decade-curated long Pandora stations.
I do remember that.
Soft rock radio that I shared, the best of the 70s and 80s. Well, I am tonight sharing the other of my famous handcrafted, from scratch,
artisanal
Pandora stations. Tonight's 90s alt-rock radio. This is a great station. We'll have the link on the website at don'tpanic.io. You can add it to your Pandora. It is a healthy mix. I would say it's not really hard 90s rock. It's anywhere from your Nirvanas, your Smashing Pumpkins, your Red Hot Chili Peppers, but then you're going to throw in maybe like some Counting Crows might come in. I think even like Alanis Morissette might jump in once in a while. So it's a little more, it's not just like really, it's not like grunge or it's not aggressive, but it really is like almost a top 40 of the 90s that's not hip hop or pop. So it's anything loosely rockish from the 90s. So it's a really easy mix to just put on and listen to. You'll pretty much know all of these because they're all the big hits. And it is thoroughly curated for your enjoyment. My 90s alt-rock radio station, the link will be on the website. I recommend you subscribe, check it out, and enjoy. I listen to it all the time.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll open Pandora for the first time in 10 years.
You know, the sad thing is I don't even listen to Pandora that much anymore. I used to all the time. I used to pay for it. I used to do the whole thing. Now I just listen to podcasts all the time.
Right.
I need to listen to music that much. One of these days, Dan, I'll make you a deal. You get back into Pandora and I'll get a Spotify.
I would rather you just listen to 2 by Friday.
Yeah, that would probably be good too. God, think how much better my life could be.
Yeah, think about it.
Damn. Well, like most things in my life, I'll continue to live in misery. Dan, well, you have an application here for us?
I have an application. So this was maybe even a couple of months ago at this point. I had been playing Alto's Odyssey and then the new one in threes for 5 years. I don't know. For forever. And those are just the mobile games that I had, and I didn't have any others. And like I've tried like a couple of them, but a lot of them you need to be online. So then I finally got fed up with it a while back, and I went on this whole research thing. What good games, iOS games, that are played in portrait mode so that I can play them with one hand on the subway, and do not require online because I will often be disconnected while I'm on the subway in New York, and are very replayable. Like, I just want something that I can keep going with. What was the like isometric block puzzle game? Everyone really liked it. No. You like rotated the whole level and you try to get your like little peep to go.
Oh, Monument Valley.
Monument Valley, thank you. Like, that was fun, but that was only like a couple weeks worth of entertainment, whereas my whatever $3 for threes has, I don't think you could divide the pennies up enough to count it by how much hours I've spent. So I wanted things like that, and the first thing that came up was Card Crawl, which it's a very simple card game. You can play it offline. It's an interesting online portion which I'll get back to, but you basically the goal is to get rid of your entire deck. And you get like sword cards, and like you can use the sword cards against monster cards, but you can use the monster cards against shield cards, and you want to like keep a balanced hand so at every point you can sort of empty out your hand and keep going. And it's very fun. There's all sorts of cards to unlock. I've been playing it for, I don't know, probably almost 2 months at this point, and I've unlocked maybe half of the cards. And you can, I don't know how you can make these, but you can download other people's decks as like challenges, and you can see them on the store and see like people's comments. Not the iOS store, but just like their little thing, and that's fun. But you have to have internet connection to download the deck. But once you have it, you can just play it. It's kind of like a level. Mm-hmm. So I've been having a lot of fun with Card Crawl. It was very much worth the. How much did I spend on this?
$2.99.
$3. Yeah, bargain.
Nice.
And I'm told that there's more by this person. Same sort of idea where they're like solitary card games, but they have completely different mechanics. So I'll be checking those out next.
Sweet. I'm definitely gonna download this and try it. Dan, you have a pretty good track record when it comes to apps like these. So
that's good to hear. I've only recommended 3 probably. 3s.
But that's what you're very selective. You know? It's a fine taste. Card Crawl, available for iPhone and iPad, $2.99 in the App Store. Very cool. Thank you, Dan. Mm-hmm. Colby.
I don't have a pick.
Okay.
Party foul.
That's okay.
You're fired.
What'd you have for dinner?
Blue Apron.
Yeah? Anything good?
The plated It was like I don't know what it's called. It was like meat and soy sauce and cucumbers. It was actually really good. Tasted quite nice.
Nice. Actually, I do have a Colby. Can I borrow your pick?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone should go follow the Wirecutter Deals accounts for Prime Day. They've been tweeting some stuff. I may have been a little naughty and purchased a thing or two.
Any little don't panic treats?
Actually, I may have purchased more smart home bullshit for my future actual home. And this one requires wiring, so it's a little hint.
We're gonna get another live stream. Sean does electrical work.
I should live stream all this stupid stuff I have to do at the house. It would be so much fun to watch me just like fumbling. All right, I'm gonna try caulking these windows. Let's see how this goes.
Are you gonna live the smart, Sean? You are the first of us who can actually live the smart home dream where your switches are the connected thing.
No, literally, I was Googling, like, can you buy Nest in bundles? Like, this place is going to be, like, fucking, it's going to have so much smart shit, it's going to be annoying. That's how much smart stuff it's going to have. That's my,
so
I
much
want it to
smart
be
stuff, it'll be
inconvenient.
dumb.
I want
like a 14-year-old.
I want them to fight against each other, the smart things. Where it's like, if you know, I control the lights. No, I control the lights.
You need to get adversarial Nest thermostats.
Yes. Oh, that's
train them differently.
That's a good idea. I'm on a Google Home to fight with my Echo. I want all the lights to. I just want shit to be crazy. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be like a fun house of smart nonsense.
Sounds delightful.
Which is also how you could describe this show. Wonderful. Well, guys, is there anything else you'd like to say before we conclude this bad boy?
Think about your bar names.
Yes, submit them to us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter, or you can email them don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. We want to hear your ideas so we can steal them and profit off of them. You can also go to our website, don'tpanic.io. We've got all the episodes past, present, and future. Audio and video are right there. You can also get the links to all of our picks. Great way to get those. We do this show live Monday nights about 10 Eastern. On twitch.tv/don'tpanicshow and facebook.com/don'tpanicshow. I want to thank Jason and Percy, who we wish good luck to, and all the people who joined us live. We appreciate it, especially when you comment, because then we can talk about it on the show. And lastly, what else didn't I? And subscribe to the show. Apple Podcasts, Overcast, anywhere you get your podcasts, we're there. We're on the new Google Podcasts as well. And you can get the video version on YouTube, which you should check out so you can see our beautiful HD faces. As we mentioned at the top of the show, Up for Debate at upfordebate.tv. We did a great episode last week, and by great episode I mean the Lost Tapes, but it's still a fun one. You can hear us talk about a bunch of random nonsense. And the week before that, what did we talk about? Commercials. We did our episode on commercials. They're all great. Upfordebate.tv. Hopefully, if Matt's back from vacation this week, we're going to talk about burgers, which I teased on last week's episode, but then we didn't do an episode, so who knows what's going on. I think that's it, guys. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
See you next week.
We've done it. On behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We appreciate it as always, and we'll see you next time for more tech news and good times here on Don't Panic.